Welcome to In Moderation,
the show where we give you a moderate dose of info, sarcasm, and we already know we're not approved.
They say you're such a good guy. I'd love for you to be my neighbor. And I say, no, I won't be your neighbor. And they're coming in from the land of make-believe. They're sending all their people from the land of make-believe into our beautiful country.
So Canada.
We're about to annex you fuckers. You're about to not have health care anymore.
Bro,
Yeah, so I hear the plan is to annex us.
That's going to take an afternoon. Let's not worry about that. It's going to be very short.
I love the idea, though, like of all the fucking wild ideas out of there, for them just to pull out, take Canada. I gotta say, that's fucking fun, man. Like, that's something to get people talking. Oh,
I don't know. That whole 100 minutes was deeply depressing.
do you think we'll have to get rid of their, like, all of their metric system and they can only use freedom units? Or, like, what do you think?
God.
We're going to get rid of all units except inches.
Inches. Everything will be measured in inches.
I think that it'll be adopted over time because we'll just do what we do with everything else. We'll pretend it doesn't exist until it conforms to our version of reality.
Yeah, it's a little slow, which I don't love. I'd love for them just to overnight to get rid of all their nonsense about centimeters and fucking kilometers or whatever.
I don't even like bugs. Like, who wants centimeters running all over the place?
Exactly. That's gross.
That's gross.
Inches, please.
Like, clean your houses. What's wrong with you, Canada?
How many of my feet go to that thing? That's what I'd like to know. And I don't want to give it time to figure that out.
I personally would rather give distance in time than in, stupid miles or even dumber kilometers.
As a former Jersey driver,
measure everything in Kessel runs now.
I give distance and how many middle fingers I'm going to give in between there and then.
Isn't that just one continuous middle finger?
Depending on what part of Jersey you're in.
Like, do you ever lower your hand?
Outside of Philly, it's just all the way.
Yeah, both hands. Jesus, take the wheel. My hands are occupied.
It's funny because just before this, I was driving around getting groceries, and I was telling Liam, Canadian problem. Got to a four-way stop, and a bunch of people stopped at the same time, and everybody's like, oh, no, you go with Bud. Eh? No one went because everybody's like, no, you go.
And 4 people died that day in place.
It's interesting.
Until they sat and starved.
Stop at stop signs.
Yeah. Like, pause, roll. If you're feeling particularly aware, maybe look in one or even both directions if you're one of them scaredy cats and paranoid people.
Dude, I was so scared of traffic when I was in San Francisco. San Diego.
That's legitimate. San Diego is way worse, yeah, because you're down by the 405 there, and that's the second
San
worst
Diego,
road
yeah.
in the United States.
That was
First
like the biggest
I-35.
culture shock was just getting out of the airport and seeing the traffic and everybody's fighting for spots. And you fly into Canada, you get out of the airport and it's just these polite lanes, traffic stops for pedestrians. You don't need crossing guards.
What a bizarre country. Do you have just 3 people there?
4 if you count Tim.
I don't.
Okay, well then 3.
Our crossing guards
Tim
are
has
armed over here.
In 8 parsecs.
You're talking about that bitch is ours now.
Yeah, I think we've got one here in Texas now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, we might as well start this up and just fucking start talking here. Are we recording?
We're
Oh,
recording.
yeah, we're recording.
Oh,
Okay.
well, let's start.
We got the amazing returning president impression from Mike.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
I definitely think you should use that.
Definitely.
It would be interesting to see how many people I'd make upset with it on either end because I'm invoking the name or I'm making fun of the guy, whichever one.
There are 3 guaranteed things in life now. It's up from 2. It is death, taxes, and someone on the internet's going to be mad at you.
It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood.
Fuck you!
Something, founding fathers. Something.
American problems.
You got a lot of problems. Well, so this is In Moderation, I've been told. I'll do the intro. Why not?
Yeah,
Welcome to In Moderation.
Let's have Mr. Rogers do the intro.
The show where we do stuff about in moderation, and we know that we already know we're not approved, and all that good stuff. So, hi everyone.
What's our other tagline? What's the other tagline?
Well, don't be your best. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, sure. I don't even know. I was just saying that to see what you come up with.
bye.
I don't even know what the fuck we do here.
It's not fuck me shreds because that's the only thing that came to mind.
I would have taken many answers. I would have accepted many.
It's too early for a K bye. We can't hit it with that now. We're a minute into this thing. So I feel like it would be wrong for me to introduce myself first.
No, it's everything's considered right here on In Moderation. Go right ahead, Mike.
I don't run the show. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Pridgen. I lost 110 pounds, but I'm most proud of keeping the weight off. And together, we're going to do the same thing kindly and moderately. Love doing things in moderation.
You also love doing things kindly.
I also love doing things kindly. I think it's a great way to operate because I did things meanly for a long time, mostly towards myself. I was very mean to myself. My internal monologue was awful. And now, if you speak to yourself negatively and you want to fix that, come on over and talk with me on Mike Needs a Plan. That's where I'm at, everywhere. This is
just waiting to see
a little early for
this is a major departure from what we were doing before. Can we talk about some British sitcoms that were canceled half an episode through?
Oh shit, that's great. How you doing, Kevin?
Kevin, how about you? Let's get an introduction from you. What are you about? Tell everybody, all the kind people.
Well, my name's Kevin. I like long walks on the beach. You may have seen
Anyone
me.
that doesn't like long walks on the beach? Come on.
My fingers through my hair, yeah. I may have been seen on a book at your local CVS, which you were awkwardly looking at your face.
We're getting mugged.
I'm Kevin from Pure Bullfit, and I like to keep fitness simple because health and wellness is simple. It's just not easy. I spend my time helping folks reach their goals in sensible, sustainable manners because I believe in sustainable over sensational. Let's see, do we have any other things I say? I just love this because fitness gave me my life back, and I'd love to give that energy to other people. But I'm probably here because I have a really bad filter between my brain and my mouth, and Rob loves to take advantage of that. So
Heck yeah, I do.
I mean, that gets you pretty far in life. You look at a lot of the people who've made it pretty far. I feel like they all kind of have that. That's one of the issues they have.
As a filter.
It's a filter.
Since
sometimes it happens if the filter's through words, sometimes it's through actions, sometimes you end up slapping someone on the stage at the Oscars or whatever. Like it's shit
wait,
happens.
please don't tell me something like that happened. Please don't tell me.
Oh, no, listen, it's getting blown out of proportion. Jamie Foxx was eating my Twinkies. I left them backstage, and I asked him if I could have my Twinkie back, and he said no. And when I went to reach for it, he threw his face into my hand over and over again. And then he stuffed the Twinkie in my hand, and he made my mouth say, "Keep my motherfucking Twinkies out your motherfucking mouth." And then he made me slap him again.
Will
That
Smith
sounds
reference to
exactly like
Jamie
something
Foxx.
Jamie Foxx would do.
This sounds sensational over sustainable for sure.
Yeah. No, I could sustain that all day long if you give me enough Twinkies.
That's what I used to do back in my day. I liked zebra cakes.
Okay, so jokes
Who's
aside,
eating
zebra cakes is
Twinkies, though.
kryptonite.
Like I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know. Does anyone here actually like Twinkies? Anybody?
Yeah. I love shitty food.
No, don't get me wrong. I love shitty food as well, but Twinkies is not like the Twinkie. There's no, the texture's not great. It's just all like sponge and then this weird cream. When they got discontinued, I was like, good, perfect. And then people got all pissy about it. Like, oh, we have to bring it back. I'm not a Twinkie fan.
They got discontinued?
Briefly.
Yeah,
they changed the formula for a little while and everybody hated it. And they changed
the company that was producing them shut down briefly for a second. They were trying to find a new buyer to continue to produce Twinkies because we've only got a couple of things that are purely American. And it was either going to be without that, we've got the Statue of Liberty and the bald eagle.
America did not invent cream-filled cake. We
Wait,
did.
what?
Like,
You're telling me
We didn't invent it, but we perfected it, damn it.
With a Twinkie? God.
That's just something else we took from the French.
Is there anything that's like you would claim as predominantly American for a snack food or something?
Medical bills.
Snack food.
Oh, wait, for snack food? Okay.
I was about to say gun violence. So
There's a lot of things that are...
Yep. Those fit the bill. But
hating
I can think of a couple
CEOs.
things that are like, if I was to send you guys food from Canada, I can be like, okay, there's all dressed chips, there's Nanaimo bars, there's maple candies of all sorts. I don't know what you guys would send me that's
what
unique.
about
McDonald's?
Southern barbecue?
Okay, well, yes, your McDonald's fries. I didn't get to try the fries while I was down there.
What? Why the hell did you come?
Because Scotty dragged me out there.
That's fair.
And you didn't get the fries.
I didn't even see
to be
a
fair,
McDonald's.
Scotty doesn't Yeah, Scotty doesn't look like he eats a lot of fries.
Well, then you didn't come to America. What the fuck are you talking about? There's McDonald's.
right.
They're
He lied to
all
you.
over the place. There's 3 within like 4 miles of me.
Well, what happened was
It's
Rob
ridiculous.
went to the McDonald's and he said, "Why are the fries missing the cheese curds and the gravy?"
Oh,
Like, sir, we don't.
I was reading the menu. Where's the poutine?
He's in Russia.
Oh, and that's the end of In Moderation.
we have to end.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll do a challenge. We end on the worst pun. If anybody makes a pun, we immediately have to cut the fucking podcast after that.
We had a few of those before we started recording.
Well, you know what? Actually, now that it is, I have a question for you guys. Now that it is a new year, I guess maybe our last episode was like the first episode of the new year or whatever. But like, I want to ask you guys, what do you think the trends of this year are going to be in terms of like fitness, nutrition? You know, like what's the new trend?
Are we going to see the end of carnival?
I think we're in for pardon my French, a fuck ass year. I think there's going to be a whole lot of fuck assery happening, especially with the Make America Healthy Again movement that's coming. We're about to see tons of crazy stuff. I don't even know if we can really accurately predict things that are coming this year.
I would say you can expect a general regression in evidence-based information regarding nutrition.
Yeah, I think
There's going
that's
to be a whole
definitely
lot of feelings.
That's sad to hear.
And because there's already an uptick in people freaking out about high fructose corn syrup in baby formula, and that's not a thing.
right.
Corn syrup is in baby formula, but that's not the same thing as high fructose corn syrup.
Because people already hate
Fucking
formula.
knob.
They're just looking for a reason. They know corn. Like, what was it? There was like a post going around saying RFK wants to remove high fructose corn syrup from soda, which I don't think he ever said, but like the people just shared it because it sounded like something he would say. So I feel like we're going to get a lot of those, especially with fucking Meta being like, nah, you don't need fact check anything. So like, we're just going to get stuff, just anything shared, and then anything can go viral. The more crazy, the more likely it'll go viral.
So I think we're going to see more of that because that behavior has been rewarded over the last couple of years.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not only good for getting you a lot of attention, which used to be the currency people were most concerned with, but attention, especially short-term attention with no substantive information, is now monetizable. It is very profitable. And there are a lot of people that are taking advantage of rubish sheep people who don't go to the barest effort to verify or validate anything that they hear. They go with their gut check, which is famously a good idea.
It's really annoying coming from a Canadian because Americans always seem to think that the rest of the world works exactly like them.
Well, we stole all our shit from you, so if it's not working like that anymore, what the fuck is it working like?
But like every time I make a post, there's always somebody that's like referencing how American systems work like this or whatever, or my favorite was damn it, what's her name? The one girl that actually did an attack video against me. I don't even remember her name anymore.
Oh, the one that's always talking about PFAS and shit like that.
Yeah. But she also did one about Dr. Ids and the FDA calling out Dr. Ids for not making the ad clear. And I was debunking her thing about how that Dr. Ids is British. He is not US. He does not follow the FDA rules. He follows the British nutrition rules. And she was like, no, he still has to follow the FDA rules.
No.
Oh,
No.
interesting.
No, he's British. The FDA doesn't control the world. Sorry.
I mean, to be fair, we go to like other countries and we expect them to act, according to our customs. So like, why wouldn't she believe that? You know what I'm saying? What do you mean I have to poop in a hole over the ground? Where's my fucking toilet, you asshole?
That'll be the new health trend in 2025 is pooping in holes.
It's actually more healthy for you because it is an easier
It's already started.
on your colon. It helps you.
I'm not saying
After the coffee enema.
no. We wipe our ass with dry paper. I will take nothing else.
Use code Crouch to get 15% off your squatty potty.
I use dude wipes at a minimum.
I'm saying, you go to another country and like as an American, you just really expect, you like a lot of Americans get in trouble. They go over to Russia, they go to another place, and they start acting like fucking Americans, and then you get rung up for that shit. Like you're not.
Right.
I think one thing I think we'll see more of. Not I don't think not only will carnivore not go away. I think we're going to see more raw.
I was about to say we're going to see. We're already seeing the rise, but that may be the thing that dominates 2025.
I think we're going to see a huge uptick in that. Like raw milk will definitely stay around, but I think the raw milk will lead into doing other things raw, giggity, and then I think meat will just kind of. I think the next logical jump is eating your steak as rare as possible, which is fucking not cooking it at all.
So outside of the consideration of being worried for children who aren't old enough or have enough autonomy by law to be able to make these decisions for themselves, like this is the land of the free.
Right.
Here in the States. If people want to invite botulism and other bacterial infections because they're too stupid to cook their meat, something we learned over thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, and millions of years of evolution, trial and error, we learned certain things you just don't eat because it do bad things to you. And if people want to go back to learning those lessons the hard way, they want to volunteer. Scientifically speaking, those are just additional data points.
Right. I think I'd love to hit on this because this is a sticking point for a lot of people. I've seen like people like Dr. Rubin brought up like, oh, raw milk should be illegal because even outside of like children, you can get things from raw milk that can be passed to other people. And I'm like, you know what? I think that's a fair point.
Did not know that.
So I totally understand that. But also I do believe if you want to, smoke cigarettes, you should be able to smoke cigarettes. I think it's stupid. I think smoking is dumb. But like if
alcohol is poison. People, we have an entire culture built around socializing, revolving around alcohol.
Yeah, and how many deaths does alcohol cause? Not even from the people drinking it, from the deaths.
Just in my family, 3.
But also, like you have drunk driving, you have all these things, and yet we still say alcohol is okay.
I do believe that a DUI should result in a permanent license suspension, which is a very hot take, I know.
I don't think that's a hot take.
It's just like take him off the road. If you're willing to get in a car like that, it's get a ride. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 100% a choice, and they made a really shitty ass choice.
Yeah. That's a tough one because you want to give someone a second chance, and because there are people that would be able to turn their life around, but often it's repeat offenders when it not just when it comes to like drinking or whatever, but like gun violence. A lot of gun violence is caused by people who repeat offenders.
I got away with it once, so maybe I'll get away with it again.
It's the easiest thing I do every day is not drive drunk. Like it is simply, it would actually take more effort for me to do it.
Have you ever stopped to consider the fact that your driver's license, the most use you get out of it, most use people get out of it, is using it to purchase things that make you inebriated and unable to drive?
That is kind of funny. I didn't really think about that. Okay, but let me play like the devil's advocate here. Like, alcoholism is an addiction. So a lot of people are actually addicted to it, and they maybe don't want to drink anymore, but they can't. So like, and I still totally get it.
That's
like
fair.
If they're driving drunk, we can't have that. That's, people
at the very least, their license should be taken away from them until they graduate from an addiction program.
So what the fuck is flying in my house? The fuck away from me. Hopefully it's benign. Anyway, this is Maine. It's questionable. Half the stuff's here.
That's another trend. Is eating things you find in your house is going to be a new trend for 2024.
But that's already a trend. As inflation goes up, as it's predicted to, people are just going to be. We're going to go back. To
I love
the soles of our
Shrek,
shoes.
and some of those like rat things he makes, they don't look so bad.
They don't look so bad. They look better the hungrier you are.
Exactly.
So talking about how alcoholism is an addiction is actually in support of them not getting their license back, because people who are familiar with addiction, I used to work in an addiction facility helping people recover, know that is a lifetime recovery, and you are at an increased risk of returning to that behavior. It just supports the idea that as much as we can care for people and have compassion for them, when it comes to protecting other people from their poor decisions, once you have crossed a certain threshold, perhaps you don't get those privileges back, because it's not a right. Yeah, I feel the same way I'm a 2A proponent, but for sensible 2A. I believe that if you're going to own a firearm, you have to be well practiced, well trained, and you have to be prepared to be 100% accountable for whatever happens. Yeah. And I don't think that most people who want to own a gun agree with that sentiment. But I believe if you make a mistake and it harms somebody or ends their life, you should lose those privileges, and there should not be so much wiggle room. And it wasn't intended. It was collateral. The bullet went through the bad guy. Every idiot with a gun thinks they're the good guy. Yeah. And then hit somebody across the street. Well, there wasn't intent, so that shouldn't haunt them the rest of their life. Failing to know what is beyond your target and choosing wisely is poor judgment. And if you have poor judgment, you should not have an instrument that could end lives. A hammer, a screwdriver, or a gun.
Trigger happy.
The thing is, there's so many other things to do in this life than own a gun. Like if that,
don't start to get crazy.
It's like, no, hold on a second.
Whoa, not what I said.
Like if that gets taken away, your whole life isn't over. You just do something else.
It is if it's your entire identity.
Yeah.
And not to compare gun ownership to addiction, but there are lots of things that we do in society that we wrap up in our identity. I know people that if you took sports betting or just talking about their favorite team away from them, they wouldn't have anything left.
Right. Yeah, like I the idea that like we should just we've gone past that point where we can just take people's guns. There's even if we wanted to, which I don't think is a good idea, we can't do it. Like it's just not going to happen. So I think the best thing we can do is prevent as many injuries and as many deaths as possible. And from I'm not an expert on this topic, but it does seem like a lot of these come from repeat offenders. So I feel like immediately.
Haven't you guys already had like 20 mass shootings this year?
I don't know.
Far more than that. It's in the several hundreds. Well, wait, I'm sorry. It's January.
Shit. Things are going down.
I mean, today was 206. Oh, wait.
I'll tell you what my idea is to end shootings. We can't take guns away, but what we can do is replace all bullets with a little flag that says bang on it.
There you go.
People would be modding the spring that pushes that out, and they would turn it into a spring-loaded knife very quickly. Like, we're really good at killing people in this country.
Yes, we are.
With our food.
Yeah, you are.
With our cars, with our hygiene, with our approach and acceptance of modern
with our
medicine,
politics.
With our politics, yeah.
But yeah, I kind of want to get back to what we were talking about before with just the kind of attack on evidence-based information, because I think this could be a huge trend. I mean, we're going to have probably legislation pushed through that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to people who are actually can you imagine being like someone who actually works like at the FDA, like a scientist, and you have like fucking, RFK trying to like eliminate some food dye or seed oil or something like that? That's got to be fucking awful. Yeah. I would lose my mind there.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know how you fight this, because like, it just seems like people have already made up their minds, and now we're gonna have less, fact checking with like Meta and everything saying, nope, it's all good, just free speech, talk about whatever you want. Like, what do you even do against this? People seem to have already have their minds made up.
What's messy about this whole thing too is that these people, everything they're saying for the most part, like if you dig down deep to the root of it, it's good. It's like, we want healthier people, we want cleaner foods, all that thing. But the way they're going about it is, let's remove the regulation that currently keeps our food safe.
Right.
And no, what's going to happen if you give more power to corporations is they're going to put less quality ingredients into food. They're going to use stronger pesticides. They'll use stronger preservatives. They can do anything they want. They'll start putting sawdust into ground beef. I don't know. Like,
it's so weird that they're against regulation, but they're also for regulating a lot of different things. Like when it comes to
regulation is easy to be against. That's why. Gentle pushback, Mike. I don't agree with you that it comes from a good place. I believe that the good place is the justification.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with you there. I mean, like, the ultimate point is a good one. Not that they mean it in a good way, but it's like, we want people to be healthier and have better foods. But
can we get like a few points? Like, what do people want? Like, what do people want? We want more healthy people. We probably want less homeless people. Because does anyone that's like, I want more homeless people? I feel like everyone can kind of agree, less homelessness is
Gentle
good.
pushback.
You're making an assumption that people care.
I mean, if you took a poll and you're like, you want more or less homeless people?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Right. In taking a poll, you have laid the expectation that there's going to be a response.
Right.
How many people, without being prompted, are doing something about the thing that they would respond on the poll that they care about? That's the real question, because our words indicate our character, our actions prove it true.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to say here is, I'm not trying to be overly cynical. I think the average person, particularly in this country, is so wrapped up with how things are affecting them that they don't really do much work thinking about what is going on, and they are responding emotionally to the information that they are given, just to the inputs. There's not a lot of output. We have developed a culture where our identity revolves around how we feel about a handful of topics. And whenever someone disagrees with that topic, it is an attack on you because it is part of your identity. So as a necessary mechanism of that, we have become accustomed to being angry, enraged, anxious about everything. And it's about engaging in that feeling with whatever mechanism works, because it motivates short-term action and the direction of donations and money and effort that benefit the people who realize we're aimless. As long as I give them somebody to be afraid of, someone to blame for it, and a problem, we can say anything. Why are they for some regulations and against others? Because who likes being told what to do? It is the easiest fucking thing in the world to say, regulation is bad. Regulation is what pulled us out of iron barons and coal mine barons. Absolutely abusing, using up their people like they were nothing more than resources, driving them into the ground, keeping them poor. We moved away from that because the consequences were enough. And that's the answer to Rob's question.
Well, you talk about coal mine. I just want to bring up, like, a great example of that is, like, during the coal mining era, like, coal mining businesses would pay their, like, employees in, like, tokens that they could only use to buy things at their store. So you couldn't use it anywhere else.
Fucking Musk just recommend doing? Building his own fucking town with their own fucking currency in fucking Texas.
I did not see that.
Did he?
Yes. It was just in the news, and I'm like, how did we not fucking... Do people read books anymore?
It's going to be in my city.
Not really.
Like, I will be able to drive through Muskville.
Muskton? I like Muskton.
He has to be aware enough to name it something else.
No, I hope he goes all or nothing. All or nothing, Muskie.
It'll probably have X in the name.
But like that's like regulation though. It's just like saying, hey, the coal mining industry, you can't like fuck people that badly. Like that's real bad.
Child labor laws.
Yeah,
you can't have your 7-year-old work an 80-hour week. Why? Because of regulation. Now, I'm not saying that all regulation is useful or good, but this mindless pushback against it is because you've been given something to be angry about. They don't care about the details, and it's not just one group of people. You know, the folks that agree with me largely on social issues are just as easily motivated by their initial emotional reaction, and they don't put a whole lot of thought in it. That's how we got from, you know, let's not fat shame people to exercise is abuse. You're abusing your body. And personal trainers are Nazis and white supremacists. That's how we got to these ridiculous conclusions, because our thought processes went unchecked because we were told to be angry about a thing. Instead of just addressing the legitimately actionable root causes of behaviors that are, be nice to overweight people. Okay, treat them like human beings. Stop paying them less. Stop ignoring them. Become a better person, right? Okay, stop being a bigot. Stop being afraid of somebody because they have a different culture or different religion or a different skin color than you. Okay, stop demonizing food so that we can figure out what a healthy relationship with the total amount of food that we're intaking. Stop being afraid of a doctor saying this vaccine is safe or this medicine is effective because you want something to be angry about. That's going to take work on the individual level. And that is the least likely fucking thing to happen until there are broad scope, societal level consequences. Thousands of kids a year dying from polio. Got a polio vaccine.
Yeah.
Nobody was, very few people were out there going, don't take the vaccine. It causes 3 heads in babies. Overwhelming number of people took the vaccine. it's going to take consequences. They're going to have to be fucked over by the very people who are telling them what to be afraid of and who to blame for it enough times before they finally get it. And then, most importantly, to effectively extricate them from that situation, you have to give them an avenue where they don't have to admit they were wrong. Just let them be angry in a new direction. Otherwise, it will not work. They will become further radicalized because it's their identity, and they would rather die on that hill than give that up and say, you know what, I fucked up and I was wrong. And that's why we're at where we're at, in my opinion.
I think we need, the best way I've seen to kind of redirect people is to try and meet them somewhere. And so I think we all have kind of like a base. Most of us have kind of like these base things where you're like, why did people take the polio vaccine? Because they like less illness bad, healthy good. Like we want that. So I try, like for me, I'm just like, hey, we both want people to be healthy, right? Okay. So instead of me, like, I'm getting tired of the whole, like, oh, this with food dye and seed oil and all this stuff. I'm just like, I'm exhausted over this. Instead of this, can I meet with you and say, hey, like 90% of Americans aren't eating enough vegetables. Do you agree with me that is not a good thing? That more people should be eating vegetables? Yes, you agree with me. Good. Thank you. Oh, but what about pesticides? Shut up. We're gonna stick with vegetables right now, okay? Fruits. Most people aren't getting enough exercise. Do you agree with me that exercise is good? Good. Awesome. Fantastic. Love that. Where can we go from here? Because I think together we can then say, like, how can we get people to eat more vegetables and exercise more and all of that stuff. And the details, we can argue about that shit later, man. Do we have to argue about that now? Or can we actually get some work done and try and get people to do these things that we all agree are important? You know, that's the only way I've seen to get like any success with trying to meet.
So many of these people are also often criticizing things that we're not being force-fed. Like, well, do I love Red 40? No. Do I like, is it something where I'm going to like drink it by the bottle? No. But like, I can very easily avoid Red 40.
I can. It's in all my.
It's in also. Candies, it's all in my favorite candies too. I've got a sense.
Yeah, I just assumed drinking Red 40 was part of the American citizenship test.
It is. Before you get your citizenship, you got to drink a bottle in front of them to prove you're not a cop.
You start melting and like, nope, not American, not material, not American material. Can't.
Yeah, I've got a sensitivity to Red 40. Do I want it taken out of everything? It would be cool because then I could have all my favorite candies again. Yes, but I also understand that for most people it's fine. Just like if I had a peanut allergy, I wouldn't lobby for peanuts to be taken.
You just need to move to Canada because we prefer Red 3 instead of Red 40.
Red 3.
I'm allergic to coconut, and that shit is in every health food these days because it's popular and it's ubiquitous. But
I figure it's
I'll
pretty
break
cheap,
out in
right?
fucking hives everywhere.
Yeah, but it's like we can avoid any ingredient. There's nothing that's mandatory in any diet. So it's like pushing against these things and preservatives and whatnot. Like, okay, then go ahead and there are products at the grocery store that you can have that don't have any of these things. It's like my diet is exactly what I want it to be. It has everything that I want in it and nothing that I don't want.
I think the through line to success may be building on what Liam said and acknowledging what Mike pigtailed. What's that called? Is it called pigtail? No, it's not it.
Followed along, added on to
piggyback, not fucking pigtail.
Pigtailed.
Listen, I'm only pretending to be a human, okay?
I like pigtail better. Just go with that.
I was just doing my hair and I got confused. If we acknowledge the thing that is important to the people who are fixated on this minutia that may not be correct but might be correct, we say, okay, you're worried about the carcinogenic effects of whatever aspartame. Fake sugar, aspartame. Yeah. You're worried about that. Okay, that is a consideration because you know what? I have seen some research that indicates that it might be an issue, but we have all of these. It's on the list, and if we're putting it on the list, right now it's 10 out of 10 because we have 30 million kids who aren't getting enough to eat, and I just feel like we should probably fix that before we worry about this thing that is affecting less than 1% of 1%. Of people. Like, it's important. I hear you. We'll get to it.
Right.
But
That's what I'm saying. It's like acknowledge. Like if you give them a little bit of acknowledgement and just say like, "Hey, you have concerns over this, and I hear you." Okay, so could this be a problem? Sure, it could be a problem, but also these things are way bigger problems. We have to look at everything is risk. Whenever people ask me, "Is this safe?" I can't tell you anything. Like if I go to the movies, I could get hit by a bus and die. I'm still gonna go to the movies because I want to see fucking Moana 2, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm gonna get there eventually. And like it's all a risk. Like everything is a risk. So you just have to acknowledge the risk and decide what's worth it for you. And for me, I'm not going to worry about the fucking a microgram of glyphosate in my fucking oats or whatever it is. I'm just going to eat my goddamn oatmeal and enjoy it and not like stress out.
Rob,
but like if you want to come to me and say, "Oh, glyphosate's an issue," fine. It possibly could be an issue, but how about we focus on getting people just more nutritious foods and help them exercise more?
Rob, you made a video about plastics the other day where you talked about like if I forget what the actual specific chemical was, but you said like, yeah, you might have one or two of these things in your house that use this chemical, but if it's not in everything, it's probably best to avoid certain things. But in the amounts that you get from like one appliance that has it in like one component or whatever, it's not to be concerned about.
Yeah, and then worrying about that detracts from the thing that you should actually be concerned about.
Exactly. Like microplastics are another big one. Like there's some research showing microplastics could be an issue. And like, I will acknowledge it could be a problem. And if you want to limit your exposure to plastics, I totally get it. But also 90% of Americans are eating fucking vegetables, God damn it. And I want to focus on trying to get that because that will have a much bigger effect on their health than removing a few plastic items they use to eat their food with, right? Like, come on.
The hard part, particularly with plastic, since we're on plastic, is, not to get too political, but...
Oh, it's too late for that.
Fucking Mike, bust out your Trump impression. We're already in it.
Not to get too political, but I've got the smallest microplastics in my balls. The smallest microplastics you've ever seen.
They were the largest ones that would fit.
Oh, shit.
Please, Rob, please, continue.
Like we're worried about the microplastics in our diet and not using plastic containers and all these plastic cutting boards and stuff. And we're doing absolutely nothing about reducing the amount of overall plastic use that we are doing as humans. And we keep voting in government officials that have ties to the oil and gas industry that profit off of all of this plastic.
Right, because that's where the money comes from. Like they're getting, you're going to vote for someone like, if you're a politician, you need fucking money to run a campaign. So you're going to take money from oil, from gas, from big plastic, whatever, to get elected. So it's like, what do you, it does, I understand why people just get hopeless. They're like, well, fuck it. What's the point? You know?
I like how a lot of those wellness influencers, they will say follow the money, but they never actually follow through. They just assume the money went to this person that they don't like.
No,
but if you look at, especially when you look at doctors and stuff, they're always like, okay, this doctor I don't like is making money off pharma. But you can go to opendoctors.com and see they made absolutely no money, while this other one that's selling a crap ton of supplements is making bank.
But when people levy that charge against people, it is never about whether or not they are correct. Every time that is done, it is simply to cast a shadow of doubt on the credibility of the person. Oh, you only think that you should take this medication for heart disease that's been approved and shown effective in 93% of the people because you're taking money from Big Pharma. They don't care if it's true. Not one time has somebody been corrected by a video and they've come back and said, oh, I was wrong. I'm sorry I accused you of that. Not one time, because it was about discrediting that person, because it isn't
personal
about
attacks work
the
better.
truth.
Yeah. Personal attacks
I
work.
love
it's about being right.
Going back to Americans think the entire world works the way they do. I love when they do that to anybody that works outside of America. And we're just like, we have socialized medicine. We don't work that way.
So that's the third time you've brought up that misconception. And Rob, at this point, I just got to correct you. The rest of the world does think the same way that we do. and they're just not as good at operating the way that we do. It isn't that they do it differently by choice. That'd be stupid. No, they're just not good enough to do it our way yet. But I have faith. I have belief in the world. They're going to come along. They're going to figure it out.
Gotcha.
And everybody speaks English, but just to piss us off, they like make up other languages.
Bro, I have met, well, they were service members, so I have met real people who really truly thought that other people's internal monologue is in English and they translate it to whatever language they're speaking.
I love that. That's
multiple times.
I'm exhausted, guys.
That's a thing.
Exhaustion is a very fair feeling. And I think 2025 is going to have a lot of it.
I was just thinking that, one of the common themes of 2025 is we're all going to be
I didn't expect this to be my job.
I'm feeling really optimistic.
I don't think any of us expected this to be our jobs, doing what we do. It's so interesting that this is the path that life has taken, and the task that we've been given.
I think. I mean, that's why this year I have to lean just more. Like, that's why I've gone more into like the comedy aspect of it, because I have to laugh. If I don't laugh, I'll fucking cry, because it's just. What else do you do, man? Like, I'm just gonna try and have fun with it and give like realistic ways for people to just, because every time I meet someone like in person who like recognize me, they're like, I'm really glad you just keep it realistic. And I'm like, that's because that's what you'll be able to fucking follow, not all this other shit, right? So let's just laugh at all of the fucking seed oil bullshit or whatever. Like, we gotta have fun with it, and then just live our lives.
I've started taking out my frustration using an axe on food.
That's been pretty cool.
I saw that. That works.
So it's 2020. Should we invest in those break rooms where you just go into a room and break shit a bunch of stuff?
There we go.
I feel like that would be pretty profitable.
I got this because of your food prep.
Nice.
This thing rocks through veggies like nobody's business.
Trinity?
Look, I don't know what it's called. I just know the sound it makes when it takes a man's life.
Right, exactly.
Mike's like, oh, wait, let me order one.
I'm gonna go get my blade. I'm gonna go get a kitchen knife. He's gonna get a fucking chef's knife.
That is a kitchen knife. Look, meat is meat, okay?
Oh yeah? Well, I have a Biggie Smalls Funko Pop. He's even got a little fucking cane and a crown.
Shit. I can't beat. Wait.
I saw this and I was like, I am 100% getting Biggie Smalls Funko Pop.
I have a limited edition Stan Lee.
Stan Lee, that's really cool.
Excelsior,
like
motherfucker.
I like that. That's good.
Now I'm trying to look like, do I have anything cool?
Your whole setup is cool. The rest of us are in our fucking rooms, man.
Yeah, no, I'm just in my messy ass fucking room. Yeah. Any other trends you guys see coming for 2025? Just because this is the time to throw it out there, so you can come back and be like, "Yeah, I called that shit." You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, I see stuff like thigh gaps and being cocaine chic, or is it heroin chic or cocaine chic?
Ozempic chic now.
It's heroin. Ozempic
yeah.
chic.
Well, being ridiculously thin.
You think that's coming
on
back?
The rise? Yes. I've seen it. Well, again, I work in a high school, so I see a lot of what the kids are gravitating towards.
Okay.
The kids who are about to cross the threshold into being adults, what they're going to be bringing with them. And unfortunately, the unrepentant, sort of mindless greed is good from the early 80s that I remember all too vividly. That kind of attitude is also making a strong comeback. The haves, the have-nots, you have not because you deserve not kind of implicit feeling. And I think that's kind of gross.
Yeah.
And I'm very worried about it because that's when people suffer. That's when vulnerable people suffer, is when you lose compassion and empathy for others.
Do you think, because now I think, because technology advancing, right? Now we're getting Ozempic, these different drugs that are helping people lose weight. Like, I think it's only going to improve, right? We're only going to get more drugs that help people, lose weight.
Yeah.
Better ones as time goes on. But like,
assuming RFK doesn't take away all the funding for that.
Fair. But I'm kind of curious. I'm
then
curious
private
what
companies will just do it.
The future is with this, because I mean, are people going to be? Is this going to be something that's going to be abused? Are we going to put more funding into that? Less is going to go elsewhere. I'm just kind of I'm curious what's going to happen with the future of weight loss drugs.
Specifically that?
Yeah, I'm curious what happens with it. I'm this next year. I'm going to be interested. I'm very interested in what happens with that.
What we're going to see over the next several years is massive leaps. One of the first major obstacles that something like this has to overcome is, like Viagra had to overcome, was the perception. Oh, I don't want to be
right. Exactly.
I don't want to be the guy that has to take the pill.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've got 50 Cent going, I took the pill. I wanted her not to forget.
It's great.
Like I didn't give her a pill so she would forget. I took a pill so she wouldn't forget. Like that kind of thing. It's acceptance, right?
So
because
do you think we're going to get more of that with Ozempic and Mounjaro and all these?
Ozempic has created the acceptance, and it's created a demand. So one of the drawbacks of it only going to people who can afford it is that demand dramatically increased because awareness increased. There's a lot of people that are suffering from the difficulties in their life, both socially and physically, that come with living in a larger body. I have a positively received body fat percentage. I am 270 pounds in the way that people want to be 270 pounds. However, my knees hurt, my ankles hurt, my back hurts. It is a big strain on my heart. It takes much less for me to run out of gas than somebody else. Can I punch my hand through a Buick door? Sure. How often is that useful? Just the one time.
All the time? Oh, no. Okay. I took a bad guess.
Like, because it has become, the demand has increased because of the controversy, and also because it's become seen as much more acceptable. I'm regularly having clients tell me, yeah, I'm starting Ozempic. Yeah, I'm starting, I can't remember what the name of the other one is. The GLP-1.
Mounjaro, there's Ozempic. Mounjaro, I don't think there's
Wegovy. One that starts with it.
Wegovy is the same thing as Ozempic. It's just the one that's approved for weight loss.
Okay.
So we're going to see rapid iteration of those things, because to meet demand, other companies are going to want to be able to make it for cheaper so that they can have the market share.
Right.
That's when we get the major advancements. The reason that we haven't had, not that I'm saying we should, but the reason we haven't had major advancements in steroids is because they were Schedule I drugs. They were seen socially as unacceptable. And that drove demand down. So iteration immediately stopped.
Right.
I think the last thing they developed was Ment. And that was a while ago. Now it's SARMs, SERMs, peptides, the whole 9 yards, because they're more acceptable, because they're easier to get a hold of. So the people are filling that demand. And that's why these things are being iterated on. That's why they're being created. So that's how I see a lot more of these drugs. I see them a lot cheaper, but it's still going to be the people with influence and money are going to get the good stuff with the lowest amount of side effects. Most consistently.
Well, this is something I've already seen, and it's already happening. I'm just going to say there's going to be like an uptick in it. I've already seen a lot of the here's nature's Ozempic.
We're spot on.
We're gonna see like I've seen everything from supplements, like people are selling this makes your waist go, and all these different things. Tea is nature's Ozempic. This is nature's Ozempic. Ozempic.
Yeah,
I forgot about Ozempic. Good call. I forgot about, it was called Ozempic. So you blended up oats and water and maybe like cinnamon or something for blood sugars, whatever, who knows. And that was supposed to, make you lose a bunch of weight. And it's like, if you swap out your normal breakfast,
they discovered satiety.
Of like sausage patties.
They just figured out how to be full. That's it. Like it's not a hack.
But like, okay. Here, this is what I brought up in my videos. What I brought up in my videos though is like, I don't want to be okay, but I kind of I feel like I need to be okay with it a little bit, because like, hey, this gets people to eat oats. Is calling it Ozempic stupid? Of course it is. It's very dumb. But like, people are gonna hear that and they're gonna be more interested in consuming oats, which will generally have positive effects on their health.
As long as I'd eat peasant oats. As long as they are not being disingenuous with the claims. If they talk about how cinnamon can help control your blood sugar, which it can, to an effect, and they're being reasonable with the claims, it's fine. It's no different than that. What's that water company? It's like Liquid Death.
Yeah.
Murder your thirst.
It's not killing you. It's not murdering anything. Don't be ridiculous. You
It's
know
the
that.
thirst mutilator. Sorry, that's Brondo.
As long as it remains
it's what plants crave.
It's what plants good electrolytes.
if we could just keep it to be like the here comes the plane of weight loss, then like so many.
But like the claims, but listen, the no video is gonna go fucking viral if someone be like, hey, oats may help you lose weight because they have fiber and this, and you could maybe lose a little bit of weight over a long period. Fuck that shit. No, they need to be. The Ozempic became a thing because you were supposed to lose like 30 pounds in a month or something fucking astronomically stupid. And so like, but it has to be like that in order to fucking get people's attention. And that sucks. And I get that it sucks, but like, that's the only way to like reach people. And that's like, yeah, it's lying and I hate that. But like, part of me is just like, all right, fuck it. We're eating oats at least. Let's go. So I'm sad, but like, I've kind of gotten to the point where I just have to be like, all right, sure, it's oats. If when people start saying eat like fucking snake venom because it'll help you lose weight, then I have to step in and be like, okay, no, snake venom, bad idea. Oats, let's go back to oats, even if the claims are
I'm pretty sure I know that guy too.
This is the equivalent of wrapping a pill in a slice of cheese. Low-fat cheese.
But like, okay, so like, I think we're going to see a lot more like this supplement is
Yes.
the Ozempic without all the side effects or the price. You know, you're going to see a ton of that shit.
You're
Use my promo
100%
code.
correct. Right. Given the anti-regulation, anti-oversight sentiment of the last decade, that's going to, all of that wraps together. Basically, everything we've talked about today is pushing towards the wild, wild west of supplements and bad solutions and bad information returning.
Yeah. And with less fact checking, it's going to fucking snowball.
Yep.
So like the question is, how do you fight that? I don't have a great answer for it, but I'm going to laugh and try to have some humor and try and direct people towards reasonable things they can change. That's all I got at this fucking juncture.
I'm actually working on like as best I can an unbiased guide of like how can you tell what information is helpful and what information is unhelpful.
Okay. So give people the tools to figure it out.
So like give them, here are some things that you can look at to determine like, is this something that is going to be particularly helpful for me? Or is this something that somebody's just trying to sell something to me?
This is a sales pitch.
Yeah. So like, you know, obviously we want to look out for like people that are using scare tactics and trying to make you feel bad. But if their content like constantly speaks down on either you or modern medicine or science or something like that, just constantly making claims like the establishment is against you and this is against you and this is wrong and this is bad. Like, okay, well, how about we start with what's good?
Can I make a recommendation to you since you're coming up with
Yeah,
that
sure.
guide?
This is all draft, by the way, so this isn't set in stone.
Of course. There is a great video to watch on how people succeed at doing that from a friend of mine, Zach Tallender. So Zach Tallender, and you look up the word charlatan, he talks about...
I think I know the video you're
fitness
talking
supplement.
about.
It's a great video. He talks
Yeah.
about the specific methodology that they use and they leverage. And Zach himself, he didn't have a lot of answers on how to combat that. But I think if armed with a specific articulation of how they do it, I think that you'd be inspired to come up with solutions on how to counter it. It's a really good video.
Mike, I think, no, that's a great idea. Giving people the tools. I love it. Getting that information out to people. Because listen, I get tagged in like a ton of shit. Like people tag me all the time. I will get, one video I get tagged. Someone saying some extraordinary claim about how the government is trying to suppress this information and you need this supplement. 10 million views. Easily. The next video is someone trying to point out to you like how people use scare tactics. 10 views. It's not even fucking in the same ballpark. You know, like getting that information out to people is so hard, and I don't know how to do it. So like as of right now, the only thing that really seems to work is like humor, is just joking and having fun and like giving people a laugh because they need that. I get so many comments from people like, I need this laugh. Like it's just so much, and I need that. Like how can I wrap this information in a piece of cheese for you. I need, like, you won't take the pill yourself. So I need to wrap this up in a piece of cheese or bacon, or like maybe you're vegan. So it's like nutritional yeast. I don't fucking know. Like, I'm
Maybe
just
you're
trying to
Canadian,
get
so it needs to be in maple syrup.
maple syrup. There's vegan maple syrup.
You can see the
Let me
pill at the
sugarcoat
bottom of the
this stuff.
thing, but you're like, fuck it, it's good syrup.
It's in a
Liam.
spoon. We just gotta feed it.
It sounds like what you're looking for is how can I do this so that it can be resolved? And so there's the misinformation, right? So how can we communicate this in a way that solves the misinformation?
I don't know if I'm going with solves. I don't think we'll ever solve it. I don't know if it's solvable, at least in their current state. But I want to know, like, how can I just reach more people with it? Because like this information is great, but like we all know misinformation travels so much faster and so much further than actually good information.
How can you make it more clicky on social media?
Currently, what has proven successful, the most successful of the four of us, you are by far and away, Liam, the most successful at doing this because you put the most effort into it. You can't just, it's what we were talking about earlier, you can't just combat the information.
Right, you can't just do the actually. Like if I sit here and just go actually, that's fucking going nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
You have to showcase them. You have to wrap it in humor. You have to push back against the point.
Yes.
And you have to play with that same mechanism that motivates all of the people on the other side to believe it, to get all of the people who are inclined to believe it on your side and could be persuaded to believe it. That's actually the small portion that's the victory. Bringing a few people over at a time.
That's exactly what I'm,
That's the fight. The fight never stops. It has been going on forever. The only reason it seems so hard and so bad now is because we have more access to information than ever before, and we feel like there's less excuse for people to be this misled.
Also,
but they're still going to gravitate towards the information they want to be true or they are afraid to be true.
Right.
So you need to keep fighting the fights you can win and keep fighting the fights that need fighting until you die and pass this on to other people.
It's pretty much
because it's never going to stop.
Poor Oakley.
But yeah, I'm going to have to pass it over to Oakley. I'm sorry that I've handed this burden down on you, Oakley Valentine.
You'll hand her the channel someday.
Here's my social media as I hand over my phone. This is my account with my password. Do your best until you die and hand it out to someone else.
Generational social media accounts. That's wild.
Because like Mike, like I love that idea of just giving people the tools and stuff like that. But it's man, it's just so tough to just. It's hard. Like I think that for a little while there, I saw like kind of like Dr. Ids. You know, he's still kind of one of the bigger like debunkers. But like for a while, he was doing really well, and I think kind of like that debunking style was in, and then it just kind of faded, and people didn't care about it as much. And so like now I'm like, how can I still get people into like understanding that this is nonsense? I'm just.
You know what else I think helps is working together. Because, like, even if you can't give people the solution, you're at least providing the path for them to gravitate this way. And then you can pass that on to somebody else and gradually move them down that road.
I definitely agree. I think, I mean, it's going to take like as many people as possible, like all working together just to do whatever little we can.
Yeah.
It's just one.
So you're saying friendship is magic?
Friendship is magic.
Oh shit!
Which one's best pony?
Oh, best pony. I was going with what's that like that old
Applejack.
kid show where they all have like the ring and they're like and it's like Earth,
Captain
Fire,
Planet.
Captain Planet. Yeah.
What's
by our powers combined?
One of them's just like love or something weird.
Yeah,
like,
one of them's love. Heart. Yeah, heart.
And it's the little Indian kid. Yeah, love it.
Which pony do they have in the jar of raw milk?
The one that has tuberculosis.
It's like, you know, as soon as you make a statement about anything specific, it turns people off. So I'm like, you know what? Why don't I figure out a framework of like, generally speaking, it's not going to get everything. But if you don't know what to listen to on social media, if something's making you very scared, it's probably trying to funnel you towards a product. Mm-hmm. So that's something that is safe to ignore, aside from politics, of course, because that shit's always scary. But when it comes to health, like if the person is trying to scare you out of everything, it's like, I don't know. let's maybe take a look into why it follow the money, as they like to say.
I've seen like Hank Green has made several videos talking about this. Like, we do nutrition, but like all sorts of fucking anything. That's a tale as old as time. Just make people scared and scapegoat something or someone, and that's it.
Yeah.
But like getting that out to, just getting that information to people is just tough. I feel like, I don't know.
No, reach is rough right now. Trying to get to anybody with like honest information is
that's what it's going to be. I think the trend we're going to see is that's going to be more fucking difficult. And
particularly since it's being rewarded.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be the hardest time combating misinformation since certain religious organizations controlled the government and controlled their countries and their states. And we saw a level of misinformation that completely and utterly subjugated the people until, once again, the consequences became so high that they pushed back. We saw it with Catholic Church. We saw it with several groups around the world, the religious princes of Machiavelli's time. We saw it with the deification of the shoguns in Japan. Like, it isn't until things become so bad for everyone,
right,
that something gets done about it. Yeah, and it's usually
so
on the other end of
wellness
violence.
Is a religion.
Depending on who you ask. I mean, talk to Mr. Not Approved.
Religion.
That's a whole thing. But man,
I missed that reference.
Oh. There's a couple of well-known influencers that, I mean, like, we'll talk about the carnivores. That's starting to feel like a religion in itself. But I'll say this. Upon the notion that the government doesn't want you to know something in a video with 20 million views on it.
Yeah.
If the government didn't want you to know that, they would get it taken down. The government owns all the media sites. They've got their hands in the pockets of every social media. They can, they don't mind.
It's more like the media sites own the government.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah, that's more correct to say. If a video has 20 million views on it, it's not secret information that the government's like, fuck, this got out. How'd this get out?
Like, and it's not just like we talk about nutrition and fitness. I was watching Mini Minutemen. Like, this guy, he does like debunking on like what's it? Brain's not working right now, but like people talking about like dinosaurs didn't exist and shit, and like the pyramids conspiracy. No, it's more like pyramids are like power plants, and like there used to be giants, like that sort of stuff. Like there used to be giants, that sort of stuff, right? I've seen a lot of do that, and like there's people that like make these videos. They're like, whoa, I got to get out of here before like the government comes to get me. Like all this shit. Like it's all over the top and ridiculous, but they get millions of views talking about how the pyramids are fucking power plants, and the aliens have like used it as like rays to do things or whatever. Like it's true of so many things, and the thing is, like, people listening to a podcast like this, they already know that's nonsense, right? So like, talking like this, how much does it help? Probably not too much. So it's kind of sad, but like, how do you reach those other people? That's going to be, I guess you'd have a New Year's resolution. All right. That's fucking mine. Try and reach as many as I can, which probably won't be that many, but I'll do whatever I can.
And that's all you can do.
Yeah.
I think you've got to adopt a stoic mentality about it, Liam, because there's shit you can control and influence, and there's shit you can't. And you really got to be able to put the stuff that you have no control or influence over in a box and not worry about it. I was looking up there. I thought I had the Daily Stoic. I've got it in the other room. I'm reading the Daily Stoic.
Yeah.
I'm 46. I've seen a lot of shit. I worked anti-narcotics, anti-human trafficking. Worked at the NSA. I worked at Blizzard Entertainment. I have seen massive different kinds of life, right? I've been to some very, very, very poor countries and enforced political policy abroad, because that's what Marines do.
Right.
These are timeless problems that are so much bigger than us. And you have to find the value in the people that you can help. So I'm right now, and I'm a little bit raw about it, so I apologize for just kind of bringing this up. I feel compelled to share. and I don't know that it's a good idea. I don't, but we're going to find out.
We'll cut it later.
This is not airing. We're not airing any of this.
Sweet. What does REC mean? It's flashing at me. I recently started a intensive critical care program for PTSD recovery through exposure. No medication, no, just exposure to the traumas, and understanding that there are things that you can control and things that you can't. And true acceptance of that has been a really important part in getting through this initial phase. It's going to be 6 months. Things are going to get way worse before they get better. But one of the things that came up is I have a lot of guilt about the things that I didn't do, the things that I feel like in retrospect I should have done, should have said, should have stopped. And that's about as specific as I'll be. But an enormous amount of guilt. And it came out that one of the reasons that I hold on to that guilt is because I feel like I'm the last person that cares. And if I stop caring and if I stop suffering, nobody is paying for it. So she made me sit there and come up with a good thing that I had done. And it surprised me, the thing that came to mind that I did not value as much as the things that I couldn't control, couldn't go back in time and fix, and could do nothing now to change the effects that have come from what I didn't do and what I didn't say. It was a 15-year-old girl in 2015 when I transferred from Blizzard, California to Blizzard, Texas, that we saw while I was staying in temporary housing on top of a garage, and she looked like she was going to jump. I ran up there. I talked to her. I pulled her off that ledge as she tried to jump, and we saved her life. I brought her downstairs. We got her the help she needed. She graduated college a year and a half ago. She's now 24 years old. Good kid. Her name is Heather.
Shout out to Heather.
If by some chance you're watching this, kid, I'm proud of you. I have, and it may be hard for her to hear this. Now I feel bad for saying it. I have never felt good about that. And we've come to the realization I felt like I didn't deserve to be the one that did that because of the bad things that I did.
That's immediately how I heard that when you said that. Because I know, like, the perception that you're like, I'm going to say this and this is how it's going to be heard. When you said that, it triggered the same response in my head of like, why should it have been me? I'm nobody.
Right. And I expressed that multiple times in the few times that I have shared the story anywhere on social media years ago. The thing is that I can't control any of that, but it is an objective fucking fact that a person is alive because I decided to act and not to look the other way. And that one life has to be enough to matter compared to all of the others. It has to. So that's what we do. Not to get too heavy-handed with it, guys. And I'm sorry for getting that heavy-handed.
No, it's good.
That's why it matters to have these conversations. That's why it matters what you do, Liam. That's why it matters that you keep fucking going despite the weight of the world, Rob. I know you are worn down.
Yeah.
But you're needed. Your fucking shield arm and sword arm are needed. We cannot afford to lose you. And
Excuse me, axe arm.
Yeah, I've seen your axe.
Just because we have to try 4 times as hard.
Don't make me get the big axe out.
I think you should get the big axe out.
Okay, I'm getting the big axe out.
Woo, that's the big axe? Oh, brother, we have different definitions of big. This must be a Canadian thing. That's what you get for measuring in centimeters.
Oh, damn. Right.
Yeah, Kevin, I resonate with that a whole lot. I mean, I've not been, on a roof other than, for doing it to myself, which is, I don't have one, but I wish I did. I should have 2 of them at this point.
For those listening, he just showed off a semicolon tattoo.
Right. But
right.
Yeah, I forgot. Some people are just listening.
My dumbass.
I've listened to the podcast. I've never seen the video. But I've heard so many. Yeah, sorry for those of you just audio listening. But yeah, I've received messages, as I'm sure Rob and Liam, you both have as well at this point, from people that are like, something you said like helped me out or saved me, or I don't feel like I deserve it because I just came on and made a minute-long video where I talked about my feelings. Yeah. But for somebody out there, that was either permission for them to feel or validation for the things that they are feeling. And just that moment of relating to someone was enough to at least compel them to say, you made an impact today. And there's a major imposter syndrome in that.
That specifically was going to call out that it triggers imposter syndrome feelings. Yeah. because you didn't mean to have that effect. You weren't aware. It wasn't your intent. It wasn't planned. I'm glad that it happened, but I always have to fight that feeling as well.
Now a somber moment of silence as we all
The
As we all
overarching
gear
point,
up
though,
and get ready for 2025. And then
I feel positive, man. This is going to be a good year.
I hope it is.
on the topic of the podcast and how, you know, it might not reach the other people.
Right.
One thing I do want to do is bring Brendan back on, because he's one of the few people that will actually sit down and engage with us.
Yeah.
That is from the other side of the grocery aisle.
We can talk.
And I think that helps, is having that
discourse.
being able to have that dialogue with somebody from the other side.
An ambassador. Yeah. I gotta say, I'm not a fan of any of his videos I've seen, quite honestly.
And right, like I totally get it. I think it's just about trying to reach other people, though, and meeting somewhere.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna when you meet in the middle, you're not gonna be happy, perfectly happy with where you meet. But I have to be okay with that and just be like, okay, so like maybe I don't believe in this and that, but this information could be useful.
Yeah.
And like I said, he is one of the only people that is actually willing to sit down and talk.
I respect that a lot. When I saw that he was on the
Yeah.
podcast the one time, I'm like, is this going to be a SmackDown or like what's about to happen here? 'Cause
Screaming match. Liam's tearing his shirt off and fucking kicking shit in the background.
Seed oils, just dousing myself in them.
But it's
Do I have cancer yet?
yeah.
No, but my skin is so soft.
I mean, but that's another example of like it's. I mean, some of his things aren't necessarily extreme. It's like just eat whole foods and such.
But that's what most of it is. It's just like eat more whole foods and exercise and sleep.
Yeah.
And like, listen, we can agree on that shit. Yes, we're going to disagree on like some fucking small things, but like what, honestly, just whatever at this point. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
It's just is. But like a lot of the times with the discourse, it's like, what is that? The middle ground or whatever. They bring on like fat versus fit or whatever.
Oh.
They just bring on the most extreme people to yell at each other. And I'm like, I
That's
really
not gonna
don't
do it.
think that helps.
Talk about all those Jubilee series where they just
the
like,
Jubilee. Yeah.
yeah.
You know what we
Not a
need to
fan.
figure out?
Not a fan.
If we're going to take the Santa Cruz method, the thing that we're going to have to figure out to get our message over there is like, what can we do to like stand outside of a McDonald's and hand $20 bills to people to not go inside, but our version of it for our information.
Our version of that.
Like what can we hand $20 bills out for to get that virality?
Listen, we don't have Santa Cruz money. We can't just be handing
We got to start selling
like that,
beef tallow
man.
and shit for
We're gonna have to
$120
get
a month.
sponsors and shit. in order to do it.
So, speaking from like a social dynamic standpoint and the way that social media works on people, the most effective thing that you can do is to have something that they want, and then they will listen to you. That is either influence, attention, money, physique, success, having achieved the goal that they want. When you do those things,
Right.
when you're
I've got your
struggling,
nose.
if you've built enough,
I've got your
There we go.
I will end you.
That's all I've got. I don't have anything else. But no, I get that.
You lost 110 pounds and you kept it off. So there's an entire group of people that will listen to you for no other reason than you have achieved what they think and feel to this point is impossible. He did it. He looks like a relatable guy. He looks like somebody I could know. I could be him. I get less of that. I had no control over being born 6'3", and fucking just a large human being that responds well. Like,
With amazing
and
hair.
for the record, Jason Momoa took my look.
Yes,
I had this first before he was chosen for Aquaman. So
And
fuck
Troy
that shit.
Polamalu took my look.
Fun fact, we are the same height. I just look like a tall, sickly child.
So, like, I am less relatable to people. So the way that I reach them is, despite the fact that I have these sociological advantages, being conventionally attractive, being tall, having a deep voice, being big and strong, nobody gives a shit about that. If I was a douche nozzle and I wasn't self-aware, if I wasn't able to articulate my points, if I wasn't willing to stick up for people who didn't think or look like me, nobody would find what I have to say valuable. It's the way that I comport myself that draws people to me, not the things that they think they want that they obviously can't. If you're 5'5", you're not going to be 6'3". Unless you're 14, there's still hope. But like, so that I can't reach people with those things. All I can reach them with is my version of healthy masculinity and self-awareness, self-development. So that's what I choose. What you have is a success story. What Rob has is perseverance over considerable challenges, and you have achieved a physique that so many people want. When you were on your bodybuilding kick, that's when the most of the people were gravitating and they were listening, not because your body was the most valuable thing you had to offer, but it's the thing that they wanted that made them listen.
And listen, and even if you don't have much, like I made it with nothing but a massive dong, like that's it. And you can that just shows you that you can reach anybody.
See, this
with
is
your massive
influence,
dong, maybe,
Rob.
Depending on where they are.
You had him using Canadian measurements, and now this man is wildly misled. I remember the first time I was on, he held his fingers this far apart, and he said about 6 inches. So I know this fool has no fucking idea.
It's so much better to say 20 centimeters.
I'm going to give you the foot long. What's that? This?
Start measuring in millimeters. You want?
And for those listening at home, I did not hold my fingers very far apart.
For those at home,
It's a fish story. It starts out this big, and then it gets this big, and then it gets this big.
increase your penis size at home right now by measuring in milliliters.
I don't know. Judging by how the shop is going, I might just
do you
go
want
that
an
route.
instant confidence boost?
Some milliliters.
Triple your penis size with this trick.
Forget nature's Ozempic. Let's
Doctors hate him.
Because they're still measuring in feet.
buy my supplement on sale right now. Enter code horsecock to save 20%.
I'm going to teach a class about this here shortly. It's just a 3-day long webinar where I
Listen, I'm going to launch a supplement company, and it's going to be horsecock. And I'm going
It's
to
gonna
tell
serve to you.
it is. Damn
Link
it.
that shit in the TikTok shop. You fucking got a winner right there.
we'll call it P shred.
Let's get Scotty in on this.
Penis somatotypes. Is it an ectomorph?
No. It's got to be like ectomorph because it's gross. Massomorph because it's just like a Liam-sized dong. At least 19 millimeters.
Massomorph.
Bendomorph, if it's got a curve.
Oh no. We're gonna have
most
so
of you
many
are gonna
more.
fuck.
It's not going to be
Most
3.
of-
There's going to be like 12 of them. One for every inch.
But it's okay because,
Jesus.
Rob, you can make a mod to subclass, right?
I can make a mod for anything. Don't worry.
You can make a mod to subclass your penis type. Anyway, what an interesting thing for this to.
And if we don't end there, there's nowhere we're
where
going to end. Like that's
go
you
from
gotta.
here? We're gonna go back.
You have to end on fucking horse.
Let's predict 2026. What's gonna happen then?
Dude, that is optimistic, talking like we're going to make it to 2026.
Fair. Fair.
After
Well, if the supplement company gets off the ground, everybody's going to be walking around with a horse dong.
Listen, I'm just saying, if we get like too in the weeds and it becomes too much, we just go fucking horsecock. That's what we do. And we start fucking selling it and we start making money. Just throwing it out there.
Right up there with alpha water.
we'll be able to sell
fucking
it on TikTok if we just spell it CH at the end.
Yeah, we'll do.
KOCH.
We'll
TikTok
figure it
won't
out.
be
It'll be fine.
And they'll think
I'm
it's
sure it'll be
German.
fine.
So it'll be fine.
Thank you, everybody, for joining
What?
us for another episode of.
Don't be your worst. And give us what was that tagline? What was our tagline, Mike?
I don't remember. What did I say?
It was the K bye. You were just supposed to say Evie. What the fuck? You had one job.
Listen, Mike, we gave you a plan, okay?
I needed it. All I needed was a
I had the
K-bye.
plan. I didn't use it.
Hey, wasn't that a great time listening to the podcast? I'm assuming you were just listening to in moderation. So if you go ahead and hit the 5-star button, is that a thing? The like button?
That's a thing.
No.
Yep.
The like button on
5 stars.
YouTube. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Not the dislike button. That's a bad button. The
Bad
like
button.
button. Bad
Don't
button.
touch.
Hit
Don't touch
hit
it.
all the other buttons. The share. You can go check out
Subscribe, all those things.
subscribe. Go check out our Patreon. We do have a Patreon. It's free to join if you want, or you could give us some money. That'd be really cool, like $1 or $2. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have.
That's where you'll find all the news for this.
We're super appreciative. You can find all sorts of other stuff there. We do giveaways, I think, sometimes,
Sometimes.
all that good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So, peace.